Have you ever walked into a room and instantly felt your shoulders drop and your mind exhale? That's not magic, that's design psychology at work. Because the way we design and organize our homes has a direct impact on our stress levels, our mood, and our overall sense of well-being. And behind every calming home is a blend of psychology, design, and emotional intention. And so today, I'm unpacking the subtle cues that make a space feel like a sanctuary, and how you can recreate that magic in your own home. So the first thing I want to talk about is biophilic design, or in other words, using plants, right? Humans instinctively relax in natural environments, which is a phenomenon called biophilia. And so integrating plants, wood textures, and organic shapes can lower your stress hormones and boost your mood. And what's really fascinating is that even small touches like a leafy print on the wall or having a view of greenery outside can create a subconscious sense of safety, because nature doesn't just beautify a space, it actually heals it. So here we've got a cozy wicker chair paired with some layered textiles and surrounded by potted plants, which creates this visual sanctuary and reinforces biophilic design's ability to reduce stress. You know, the natural materials and greenery just invite the body to relax and the mind to reset. And this tall shelving unit integrates greenery with everyday objects, which maintains a constant visual connection to nature while still enhancing the spatial rhythm of the room. And so the setup subtly mimics outdoor layering, which grounds the space in a sense of organic calm. Now here we've got a curated mix of bonsai, succulents, and leafy plants, which are arranged on this dark tray, which kind of creates a micro landscape that evokes nature's diversity and rhythm. And the contrast between plant forms and textures delivers a layered, nature-oriented experience in a really compact footprint. And then having the presence of water within this glass pitcher just adds a subtle sensory cue, which reinforces the calming effect of natural elements. And when you pair that with the wood table and the brick backdrop, the scene just feels really grounded, organic, and kind of psychologically restorative. And here, this vibrant indoor garden is cascading all the way from the ceiling down to the windowsill, which immerses you in a layered greenery that mimics nature's vertical rhythm. The hanging macrame planters and all this diverse foliage creates a dynamic, stress-reducing focal point that really feels alive and enveloping. And then all the natural light that's flooding this space is really just activating the plants and reinforcing the core principle of biophilic design, which is that having visual access to thriving nature just makes us feel really good. Okay, so now that we've talked about plants, now I want to talk about color psychology, which is number 2 on our list here, because colors directly influence our emotional state. Soft greens, blues, and neutral colors activate the parasympathetic nervous system, which helps us to unwind. And then loud or oversaturated colors can overstimulate the brain, especially in areas of the home which are designed for resting. And so a calming palette creates visual silence, which is a backdrop for peace. So here we've got soft blue accents on the stools and the geometric rug, which just infuse the space with a cooling, tranquil energy and kind of subtly engages the parasympathetic nervous system to promote that feeling of relaxation. And having these repeated blue tones visually help to unify the room while still easing your mental tension. And at the same time, the presence of bold, multicolored abstract art adds a little controlled dose of stimulation, which balances the calming palette with some creative vibrancy and maintains interest without overpowering the serene foundation of this space. In this room, we've got these fresh green walls, which infuse this hallway with an energizing but still calming quality, pairing renewal and vitality with a bit of a sense of balance. And then the blue accents along the floor and the staircase deepen that tranquil effect and subtly slow the mind's pace. But these first 2 rooms probably aren't what you're expecting to see when I say a calm space. So let me show you a few examples of what might match your expectations a little more closely. In here, we've got this soft green curtain that frames this arched window, infusing this vanity nook with a sense of balance and serenity while still drawing the eye toward the natural view outside. And then the crisp white cabinetry and vanity create this clean, uncluttered backdrop that reduces visual noise, allowing the muted greens and the natural light flowing in to set a restorative spa-like tone. Now in this room, we've got a pale neutral palette of white, beige, and light gray, which just minimizes the mental load by calming the senses and fostering mental clarity. And all the natural light flooding into this room just enhances these soft tones, reinforcing the sense of openness and emotional ease while still creating an atmosphere of restoration. In this bedroom here, we've got soft beige, white, and gray tones that are just wrapping the room in a tranquil, low stimulation atmosphere that gently clears your mental clutter. And when you pair that with the clean lines and simple textures, the overall palette creates an emotionally restful bedroom atmosphere. And then here, back to something more surprising, these bold colors really take center stage. So this sunny yellow sofa, the teal lamps, and the vivid blue table, which are all creating a lively, high energy mood. And so the mix of these strong hues with the patterned rug and the eclectic accents keep the eye really engaged and make this atmosphere really playful. And so in contrast to the previous photos' serene neutrals and low stimulation palettes, this room really leans into visual stimulation and a deep sense of contrast. And so where the others quiet the mind, this space actually sparks curiosity and energy, which is perfect for socializing and creative interaction rather than just purely resting. Okay, now on to the third way to make your home feel relaxing, and that's through spatial flow. Okay, so our brains crave order and predictability, and so open layouts and clear pathways reduce our decision fatigue and our mental clutter. And when a space just flows intuitively, it allows the mind to relax without needing to decode the environment. And so visual breathing room is just as important as physical space. And so as you'll see in this kitchen/living dining room example, having visual breathing room is just as important as physical space. So the open, unobstructed connection here between living and dining areas means that you have seamless movement throughout the space, eliminating any bottlenecks and any sort of visual chaos. And this intuitive flow just reduces your cognitive strain, letting the mind focus on interaction rather than navigating the space. The balanced furniture placement and defined zones here also create a sense of immediate spatial clarity, because the brain interprets symmetry and order as safe and predictable, which lowers your stress hormones and fosters a sense of control and ease. Now, this kitchen's open connection to the living and dining area preserves this easy, uninterrupted flow, which lets movement, sight lines, and conversation travel freely throughout the space. And again, this kind of cohesive layout lightens your cognitive load, so the mind isn't forced to navigate barriers or any sort of visual clutter. And this generous island really anchors the room, while the balanced placement of the cabinetry, appliances, and decor creates spatial predictability. And so the brain registers this order as safe and intuitive, which lowers your stress and makes the entire open concept area feel harmonious and just effortless to use. Okay, so the fourth thing you want to pay attention to if you want to create a relaxing, serene home is texture, because touch is such a powerful emotional regulator. Soft, warm textures like linens, boucle, velvet, and wool trigger feelings of safety and comfort. And layering tactile elements like these grounds us in the present moment and offers sensory relief from digital overload. Because texture isn't just visual, it's also really deeply emotional. So in this space, we've got this generous beige sofa, these boucle style pillows, and a plush area rug that all invite touch and signal comfort. And having these tactile layers engages the brain's sensory pathways, which triggers the release of oxytocin and lowers your anxiety levels. And having these contrasting textures of the smooth marble flooring, the soft fabric upholstery, and the nubby rug fibers creates depth without adding any visual clutter. And so this sensory grounding anchors the body in the present, which fosters emotional ease and just a sense of overall security in the space. And in the bedroom here, this crisp white bedding is layered with soft, striped accent pillows, which creates an immediate tactile invitation, which encourages you to relax and get comfortable. And so these familiar, gentle textures really engage the brain's comfort centers, reducing your stress and promoting emotional ease. All right, so the fifth thing you can do to create a more relaxing home, and you know I had to include this, is improve your lighting. right? Because lighting affects our biological clock and our emotional balance. Warm, dimmable lights mimic our natural rhythms and support relaxation, while harsh lighting can disrupt our sleep and disrupt our mood. So layered lighting, which includes ambient lighting, task lighting, and accent lighting, creates a dynamic but still soothing atmosphere. And when the light in our external surroundings matches our internal rhythm, finding a sense of calm becomes effortless. So in this room, we've got these expansive floor-to-ceiling windows that are flooding the space with natural light, activating the body's serotonin production and enhancing our alertness, focus, and our overall emotional clarity. And so this is the body's optimal lighting cue for daytime vitality. Then we've also got strategically placed recessed lighting that offers soft ambient illumination, avoiding any sort of harsh glare and supporting visual comfort, which is ideal for transitioning into the evening time without overstimulating the senses. And then the subtle accent lighting within the shelving units adds some depth and warmth, guiding the eye gently and reinforcing a sense of emotional containment and safety. And what's really interesting about these little micro glows is that they actually mimic sunset tones, which signals the body to wind down. And so having these layered lighting zones of natural light, ambient light, and accent light creates a circadian friendly rhythm and helps the brain distinguish between active and restful states. And this alignment reduces sleep disruption and actually supports your emotional regulation. Now, that all works fine in a living room, but what about in a bedroom? Well, here we've got integrated headboard lighting that emits a warm, low intensity glow, which is perfect for use in the evening. Because this type of ambient light supports melatonin production and signals the brain to prepare for sleep, which is a direct cue for emotional decompression. These recessed ceiling lights give off a soft, diffused glow and avoid the harsh shadows and glare that you'd get from an overhead light, which creates a bit of a cocoon-like atmosphere that reduces overstimulation and promotes your psychological safety. And then the natural light coming in from this large window offers a bit of daytime vitality, which enhances your mood and your cognitive clarity. And the accent lighting within the vertical paneling adds some depth and visual rhythm, which just guides the eye gently and reinforces a sense of order and calm in the room. And again, this layered lighting approach mimics natural light transitions and supports your circadian rhythms. And so we've seen the living room, we've seen the bedroom, now we need to go to the bathroom, where we've got this warm recessed lighting that creates a soft enveloping glow, which again is ideal for evening rituals. And just like in the bedroom, this type of ambient light supports melatonin production and signals that it's time for the body to relax. And the natural materials in here, like marble, reflect the light gently, which just adds to the serene ambience. So the interplay of texture and light creates this sort of multi-sensory experience that grounds the body and soothes the mind. Now, the sixth way to create a relaxing home is through personalization, because personal objects create emotional safety and reinforce your identity. And so displaying meaningful photos, heirlooms, or just pieces of art helps reduce your anxiety and increase a sense of belonging. And these items act as emotional anchors, reminding us who we are and what matters to us. Because a relaxing home isn't just well designed, it's also deeply personal. So in this first room here, we've got this grid of framed black and white photos, which creates a visual narrative on the wall, anchoring the space in personal history and identity. And these familiar visuals activate memory centers in the brain, which reduces your anxiety and reinforces emotional safety. But beyond that, having these decorative objects on the coffee table reflects your own curated taste, which signals intentionality and your self-expression. So this fosters a true sense of ownership and belonging, which is really essential for relaxation. Now, in this room, you can see that each shelf is thoughtfully curated with a mix of personal and symbolic items, things like travel memorabilia, cultural artifacts, and framed photos, all of which are serving as emotional anchors that reinforce the identity and belonging of whoever's living here. And so this layered arrangement of books, art, and decor creates a bit of visual rhythm and emotional depth, which invites anyone who steps into this room to pause and engage. And this slows your cognitive processing and fosters a sense of calm and connection. And on top of that, because this space is filled with items that are meaningful to the person who lives there, it evokes nostalgia, which activates the brain's memory centers and reduces anxiety through familiarity and emotional continuity. And then this curated arrangement of silver platters creates a visual focal point that's rich in personal symbolism, suggesting some sort of heritage, tradition, or just a collection of memories. And so these objects act as emotional anchors, reinforcing identity and continuity. But on top of that, each platter's unique shape and patina tells a story, whether it's a family heirloom, a travel find, or some kind of ceremonial piece. And so again, all the memories that are encapsulated in these physical objects evokes nostalgia and activates the brain's memory centers, which reduces your anxiety and deepens your emotional connection to this physical space. So at the end of the day, a relaxing home isn't about perfection. It's about creating an environment that tells your mind and your body you're safe, you're welcome, and you can exhale. And by understanding the psychology behind comfort, you can shape spaces that are both beautiful and emotionally restorative. From the soothing power of color to the grounding comfort of texture, every design choice speaks to how we want to feel. And when we align our spaces with our inner rhythms, we create more than beauty, we create balance. So start small, make mindful choices, and watch your home turn into your personal retreat. Every detail matters, because when design meets emotion, your home becomes a place of healing.